Oh, this is new.
That was a new, I've never heard that before.
Nope, nope.
That was-
Perhaps that's why we all had to put the code in as well.
That's a new security upgrade this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there.
All right, so you don't notice the little recording button up at the top up there. It lets you know in case you don't want to be recorded.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we do have a quorum. It is 6:30. So I'll call the meeting to order. And if you would please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Any agenda adjustments?
I have none this evening.
All right. Then we'll move on. 2.1, to approve the minutes of the July 12th, 2021 Board of Directors meeting. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
I think it says May, Bob.
Beg pardon?
You said
Seconded by-
July 12th.
Did I say July? I'm sorry, May 12th.
Yeah.
And I'm reading it right off the paper too.
Wishful thinking.
It was hot today.
So the motion is to approve the minutes of the May 12th, 2021 meeting. I had a motion from Joan. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Second by
Okay.
Jen. All right. Any comments, corrections? I'll remind everybody that may be out there that these are all recorded as well. So the written minutes are certainly don't capture absolutely everything that is said, but it is usually a good representation and an overview of the discussions that took place. So if you see something on there and you'd like more in depth of what we're talking about, please go out and check the recordings. There's links on our website. All right, if there's no corrections or modifications, then I'll call for the vote.
Bob,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Robbie,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Stephanie.
Yes.
I don't see Andrea. No. Okay. Joe
Yes.
and Dory.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right. I'll move on to comments from the floor, public comments.
Hold on.
I don't see a lot of new people on here. I only thought I saw one or two people that aren't either part of the school union as far as the staff goes or not, but at this time, we'll open it up. If you can either raise your hand using that function in Zoom or in chat, you can let the superintendent know that you want to speak, and then he'll call on you and you'll be able to speak at that time.
Chat is open. I don't have anything at this point, Bob.
Okay. There's no public comments, petitions and communications.
I have none this evening.
I have received none for the board. I guess the only communications that we all got was from Maine School Management Association about the pending legislation.
Yeah.
To allow teachers to basically go to binding arbitration over things that the school board has had the authority as the employer to handle in the past. I think even allowing them to strike.
Yes.
I don't know how far into July and August they want to have the school year if we got to get 100 and so many days worth of school and they go out on strike for a month. So, but it's all bad. Please contact your legislators. I know R2, I'm pretty sure Sharon is going to vote against it, but that's not necessarily the case for everybody. So, all right, going past that, we go down to superintendent's report.
Yep. So just a few things this evening. We are winding down school. We've got a few weeks left. I am, as Bob mentioned earlier, I'm really glad today was a remote day because it was 90. I had 93 on my thermometer in my car. It would have been hot today. That's for sure. But I got to say, I was out in buildings yesterday. I'll be out tomorrow. It's fantastic to see, we're winding down the school year and yet things are not winding down in our buildings. Our staff are still doing fantastic things. The kids are awesome. I mean, it's getting warmer. They're wearing masks. They're not having issues. Lunch is going pretty smoothly. Like it is really nice to see. A lot of times you get to end of May, early June, things wind down, people get a little complacent. Maybe that's not the case in RSU 4. So to see the things that are going on is really impressive. Just a reminder, the collaborative planning team is meeting tomorrow. The big topic, obviously, is the fall plan. We've gotten some feedback from the community on the fall plan, so we'll be looking at that with the plan to bring that to you all on June 9th. Other than that, Scott and Glenn and I met with CHA architects today to start talking about negotiating a contract, what the process is like. So, I will keep you all apprised as we go forward with that. They will be meeting with the Finance and Facilities Committee as well. So, a lot of good stuff going on. Just a reminder, I know Marco wasn't talking tonight, June 7th is graduation. It is at the Lewiston Auburn Airport, like we did last year, although I think we've learned quite a bit. And I think it's going to be pretty fantastic. Marco, I don't know if you want to just take a moment and talk about graduation.
Sure. I apologize. I was just finishing up my dinner, so I was had the camera off there. Yeah. So as Andy mentioned, we are holding graduation at the Auburn Lewiston Municipal Airport on June 7th at 6 p.m. We have a number of pieces already in place. And I think I've said this to you guys before, that we are working with a number of different high school groups or high schools to, share essentially the costs involved with graduation. So it'll look a little bit like last year, but we have changed things up, obviously, because, we know more now than we did last year in regards to social distancing, mask wearing, so on and so forth. So it'll be a little bit more accessible for the students, meaning instead of being in their vehicles the entire night, they will be seated, again, socially distanced between each other, and be in front of the stage so that they have a nice clear view of the speakers and the proceedings that are going on. And then we'll also be allowing 2 family members to join the graduate as they cross the stage, and photos to be taken afterwards. And we'll be doing something for the rose ceremony, which is pretty popular amongst the graduates. So all in all, it shapes up to be a really special evening for graduates who have endured a year like no one other and have done well.
And Marco, correct me if I'm wrong, but we'll be live streaming it as well, correct?
Yes, yes, hopefully. And I only say that because last year we had everything set to be live streamed and then the live stream didn't work. So, technology the way that it is, we're hoping again that there won't be any problems and we'll be able to live stream it for anyone that can't be in attendance.
And our hope too is that next year that we'll be able to be back at the Civic Center and doing our traditional graduation. But I got to thank Marco, his team at the high school. They've got a graduation committee. They've done some fabulous work putting this together to try to make it as seamless as possible. I think it's going to be a special evening for sure. So other than that, that concludes my report.
All right, any questions? We do have resignation and retirement.
Yep. So we've got Kelly Terry, resignation. She's the administrative assistant at Carey Ricker School, and then Kirsten Hanlon, an tech at Oak Hill Middle School. We wish them both well, but Kirsten is retiring. I worked with Kirsten 15, 17 years ago at Oak Hill High School when we were both ed techs. And so it's always nice to be able to see that come to fruition. People end their career in a like this and be recognized. So we thank Kirsten for her service to the RSU.
All right, no other questions? All right, Director CAI report.
Good evening. We are just wrapping up our last week of MEA testing. We're working on our science one this week. We actually bussed in some students today. We normally have a remote day, but we actually had an in-person day for some students to complete that science test because it has to be done in person. I've been very busy doing some training on some pool testing that we'll talk about at CPT tomorrow. I'm also on the DOE think tank for accountability. With COVID, it has given an opportunity for the DOE to look at waivers about how they do assessment and accountability, and how they report our assessments scores on the dashboard. We have sent our notification to our Title I students this week and next week. The parents can see the dashboard. There hasn't been any updated data on there, but we still have to do an annual notification. This think tank allows us to look at what our application is for the state of Maine and to see if there's some flexibility still fitting under the federal guidelines to see how we can celebrate student success, look at student achievement, but also look at student growth in different ways. So I look forward to kind of thinking outside the box with different stakeholders around the state, and hopefully we can make an accountability system that works for all our students. As we learned it doesn't matter about seat time. It doesn't matter about how students learn in terms of modality. It's about showing kids how they can access their learning and meeting where kids are at and showing their growth. So looking at really celebrating successes of students. So I look forward to kind of sharing updates as we go forward. We'll be meeting throughout the summer pretty regularly. So.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, seeing none. We have the financial report within the packet. Is there anything outside of the? It says it was in the
No,
packet.
I'll
I
have
guess
I'll have
somehow I
a
missed it.
report. I'll have a report in the committee line, Bob.
All right, so we got to do something about. We either got to take it out of here or do the report under.
Yeah, so do we want to take it out of here and just have it be as part of the Finance and Facilities Committee report? I still want you all to get it in your packet.
Right. So, well, the discussion be had, maybe better off being held a couple of months from now. But
Yeah.
I would think the stuff that we get and we already see at the report would really be on anything unusual that's going on that really didn't come to the attention of the board, other than just we got this percent. I mean, that we all read.
Right.
And so,
Well, and we had made the decision we used to approve the financial report, which we didn't need to do, and we had put it here. But ultimately we can discuss that as we do our organizational meeting for next fall.
right. And with whoever's on the finance committee at that time, along with Scott and you, come up with a plan. So seems like we pass over this every time and do it under the reports, which is an appropriate place as well.
You tell me what you want to see, and I'm good with that.
All right. Well, that'll be discussed sometime else. Moving on, we'll go to, we don't have any of the administrators' reports this time around. I don't see our student rep on here.
I don't either.
Kind of would be surprised if he was here. Are there any other reports?
I don't have any.
All right, seeing then under old business, 6.1, discussion of the fiscal year 22 budget and upcoming changes to the ED 279.
Yep. So we got notified last week that the governor has presented a supplemental budget to the legislature. So in that supplemental budget, there is more money being put into general purpose aid for school districts. I think it's important to note, A, this is a supplemental budget, and B, it hasn't been voted on yet, although from what I hear, it's pretty much a slam dunk to go through. But that being said, it hasn't been enacted. However, I think it's really important that you see what the potential impact of that is. So I I'm happy. If other people are not, maybe, but I actually like the way that they're going to go about this. So basically, what the supplemental budget has proposed for GPA is they're putting more money in, but they're not changing the EPS number. All they're changing is the mill rate for the required local share, and whatever that is. So currently it's 7.9. I believe they're dropping it to 7.26, maybe potentially. And whatever that equates to, they're taking it out of the required local share and shifting it over to the state share. So the number we were given is about $500,000 for RSU 4. So basically what will happen if this goes into play is what they're telling us now is they'll take $500,000 off the required local share. If you remember correctly, that's the money we have to raise to get the state money. So they're going to take that 500,000 off and put it on the state share side. So Scott and I, and so what that does is it doesn't change the EPS number and it doesn't change the local additional number. All it will do is change the assessments. So Scott and I ran some preliminary numbers on this, and I want to be really clear. These are rough estimates. We won't know exactly what it looks like until we get a new 279. And I asked the department when that would happen. My hope was they already gave us the number. So I was hopeful they were going to give us a preliminary 279, but they have basically said they won't give us a new 279 until the governor signs this in. But the impact will be on assessment to town. So I thought I would share just briefly. And again, I'm reminding you that this is just, these are rough estimates based on percentages. So currently, if you remember correctly, the budget that's going to voters, the impact based before the supplemental budget looks like this. So, and these are the variances. Litchfield would see $117,000 increase or 3.11% over FY, and I got these numbers backwards, but FY 20 for next year. Sabattis would see $153,000 increase or 4.57. Wales would see a $70,500 increase or 5.54%. Total variance year over year, 340,000. The estimate on the $500,000 shift from required local share to the state share roughly looks like this. Litchfield would see around $115,000 decrease. Sabattis would see a 39,000 and change decrease, and Wales would see a 4,000 and change decrease. So what that means is that there would be a change decrease on a $100,000 home. $31 in Litchfield, $13 in Sabattis, and $3.69 in Wales. So I think it's a positive if it goes through. I'm hearing that it's going to, and I kind of wanted to update you. At the end of the day, when this gets signed, my hope is this will get signed before we actually go to vote, so we can get that out. But I am going to be sharing preliminary numbers on this. But I don't know. I haven't heard when the legislature is going to actually take this up. So, but that's what it will look like if they shift from the required local share to the state share, which is what they're saying they're going to do. So that's what that looks like.
Okay, comments? So isn't it risky sharing this until it's enacted? And instead of sharing actual numbers, just go and provide the philosophy that there's pending legislation should it passes, these amounts that you're being passed will be reduced.
Yep. And that's what I will say, Bob. I'm not gonna really put out hard numbers because we don't know. The interesting part of it is the department has given us the numbers based upon what they're planning to do with it. And those are actually out in public now. So the department released them as part of a priority notice that it will be a $500,000 shift for us. So yeah, I don't want to get in. I'm just showing you guys estimates. I'm not going to put out that there are what the estimate numbers are, because I don't know at this point.
Okay. Any comments, questions? All right, so you can see we've kind of basically reached almost the end of the agenda, and Andy and I talked about whether we needed this meeting, and we felt that we needed to do it anyway. It wouldn't have looked appropriate to skip a meeting at this time of year. And the update on the new budget numbers was an interesting bit of information, and other little tidbits come out. So this is going to be a short one. Thank you all for giving this night up. And with that being said, we'll go into committee reports. Robbie, Finance Facilities.
Yep, thanks, Bob. The Finance and Facilities Committee met before the board meeting, and the financial report at 10 months, or 83.33% of the year completed on revenues, we've received 83.44% of the anticipated revenues and expended 77.63% of the budget. We also got Andy's update on the budget. We went over that with the numbers that he presented just a second ago. And on the facility side, we discussed an LED light project for the schools that we hope, if it goes, we can actually use COVID relief funds for. And we'll put LED lighting throughout the whole schools and automate every light in every building that we have. The 3 buildings that we have left, the high school, the middle school, and Carrie Ricker. So that'll be a substantial savings of close to $74,000 a year if we can pay for it up front with COVID relief funds, and it won't cost the RSU anything. And
Any
that
questions?
was about it.
Oh, sorry.
Nope, that
All
was,
right,
that
any
was about it.
questions? All right, I didn't mean to cut you off, Robbie.
Oh, no, that's fine.
No questions? We'll move on. Personnel and Policy Committee. Is that
All
Joan?
quiet. We did not have any policy committee, and nothing to do with personnel.
There will be some hiring to come up here shortly. So I believe you will get some messages about some hiring committees.
Okay.
Well, I haven't heard
CAI
anything about that yet, but we will.
CAI Technology Committee report. Is that Jen?
We
Who is
did
that?
not, yes, it is.
Okay.
We did not meet, and as Kathy stated, they're finishing up the testing, which has been rather rigorous this entire month. So kudos to everybody, because that's tough.
All right. Thank you. Any questions, any of the committees? This time I'll offer board members an opportunity to make any comments they would like to make.
I'm glad you decided
Okay.
to have the meeting tonight. Because I felt like after the meeting last week, and with all the questions, and things are pretty fluidly changing as we have seen over the last couple of weeks, I think it's just important for us to be consistent, especially before the budget vote.
Right. Unfortunately, we didn't have the CPT meeting before this so that we could come with recommendations tonight. Just too much conflicting around to go on and make that happen. So we'll meet tomorrow. And hopefully it will be a productive and good meeting. And we'll be able to come out of that with some recommendations to be acted on by the board in our first June meeting. And get ready for the fall so that they'll have the guidance on to begin the work as soon as school's out, start doing whatever they got to do to start getting ready for the fall. Get all of our kids back in school 5 days a week. That's our goal. No other board comments? Well, again, thank you all for joining us tonight. Stay cool, then stay warm tomorrow. So, you know, it is Maine and it is the spring. With that, I'll call the meeting adjourned.
All right. Thank you all.
All right.
6:54.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Andy, what
everybody.
time we meeting tomorrow?
Yeah.
4:30.
Yeah,